Hello players, have you ever wondered why your favourite platforms start out amazing and then slowly turn into flaming piles of garbage? Well, welcome to the world of enshittification. If you want to protect your privacy online, maybe you want to watch this without your ISP knowing, you can use NordVPN. The current best deal is linked below, and using that link does help out the channel. Now we are past the advertiser-friendly guidelines time limit, I can say the word a lot more. Coined by tech writer Cory Doctorow, enshittification is the process where platforms prioritize their users first, but over time prioritize advertisers. Advertisers, profits, and shareholders, until the platform becomes pretty much unusable. From Netflix squeezing your wallet with password fees to cars becoming monthly subscription nightmares, enshittification is everywhere, and it's ruining everything. It's why Instagram feels like one giant ad and why Amazon search results feel more like a scam than a store. Let's go through how it works and how it's ruined the internet. But spoiler alert, we may be able to fight back. Stay tuned. At first, platforms focus on users. Everything is free, easy, and fun, just like me. And then platforms start squeezing creators or businesses with fees and limitations, which isn't like me. I have no limitations. Finally, they pivot to advertisers or shareholders, putting profit above all else. So the playbook is, first, the platform focuses on you, the user. It's free, it's convenient, and it's loaded with features that you can't believe you're not paying for. This is the honeymoon phase, and then it's like Netflix in 2012. Wow, all you can watch for one flat fee, no ads, no drama, a paradise. But then things start to change. In the second phase, the platform realizes it can't live off good vibes alone, and investors want returns, so they start squeezing businesses or creators. You know, the people who actually are making the content for the services that you're there for. I mean, just take YouTube. In its early days, it was the place to share anything. Skateboarding fails, cat videos, trips to the zoo, reply girls, you name it. But then when the advertisers came knocking, the rules shifted. Suddenly creators had to cater for advertisers or risk demonetization. The platform stopped serving creators and started serving the brands. And finally, the third phase, the platform prioritizes shareholders or advertisers over anyone else. At this point, the experience nosedives faster than the free trial that you forgot to cancel. Amazon is a textbook case. Back in the day, it was a treasure trove of books, gadgets, and good deals. And now it's like playing a game of spot the real product between ads and knockoffs. Every single platform seems to follow the same trajectory. Netflix had flat fees that turned into price hikes and password fees and content that feels more filler than killer. And YouTube, ad purgatory. Social media platforms, basically giant billboards. It's a pattern that's as predictable as another Fast and Furious sequel. Even the mighty Facebook wasn't immune. In its early days, it connected friends, then it squeezed businesses with algorithms that demanded ad spend, and now it's practically a retirement home for minion memes and fake news. Alright, okay, so why do all of these platforms inevitably end up enshittifying themselves and have their users be a diaper? Well, is it a conspiracy theory to ruin everything we love? Not exactly. It boils down to three big reasons: profit, pressure, and advertising-based business models. And good old corporate greed. That's a bonus fourth one. The sad truth is, most platforms don't start off as profitable businesses. They're funded by venture capital, and VCs don't invest in meh ideas like this one. They want unicorns, startups that grow fast and dominate the market and make them filthy rich. Nowhere is enshittification more obvious than with Uber. When it first launched, Uber was like a gift from the transport heavens. Well, if you're outside of Europe, we have good transport. We had cheap rides, no haggling, and a smooth app experience, which was decent. And it made taxis look like old relics and horse and cart. But what you might not know is that Uber wasn't exactly making money during those early years. For years, Uber operated at a loss, burning through billions in venture capital to undercut traditional taxis and corner the market. They were pricing rides so low that they were literally paying to keep customers happy. But the moment that they became the dominant player in most markets, everything changed. No more cheap rides, no more driver bonuses. Uber wasn't in the be nice to the customer business anymore. They were in the make our investors rich business. And of course, Uber isn't alone. The same story plays out across all tech platforms, from Netflix to Amazon to gaming. They start off amazing, and then the moment that profit machine kicks in, it's game over for the user experience. But there's another catch. growth can't last forever. At some point, platforms hit a ceiling. They've already attracted most of the users they can, and that's when the pivot happens. To keep investors happy, they have to find new ways to make money or ways to actually start making money. Platforms built on ad revenue are basically doomed to shitify from day one. And why is that? Because if you're not paying for the product, you are the product. You've probably heard that before. And advertisers, they want eyeballs, data, and results. Let's just head back to social media for a second. Platforms like Facebook and Instagram started off as places for you to connect with friends, but once advertisers came into the mix, it all became about keeping you scrolling. That's why your feed is full of ads, sponsored posts, and weirdly specific suggestions. And these platforms aren't just showing you ads, they're collecting everything about you to make those ads even more effective. Creepy, right? Good. Finally, we have corporate greed. At the end of the day, most platforms are run by massive corporations with one goal in mind: keeping shareholders happy. And shareholders, they don't care about your user experience, they care about their quarterly earnings report, and stonks go up. This is why we see platforms introducing ridiculous things like paywalls, subscription models, or microtransactions. It's not about what's good for users, it's about squeezing every last drop of revenue. And it's not just tech or services. Remember when buying a car meant that you got all of its features? Well, all the options that you paid for. Now companies like BMW want you to subscribe to stuff like heated seats, like you didn't already pay for the car and it's not already built into it. Enshittification doesn't just hurt users. Eventually, it hurts the platforms too. As they chase profits, they alienate the very people who made them successful in the first place. Platforms enshitify because they are built for growth, powered by ads and controlled by corporations chasing profits. It's like a perfect storm of bad decisions for everyone, except the shareholders. If everything gets worse, even for the companies, what's the end game? Do the companies actually benefit from this madness, or does it all come crashing down? Let's go for short-term wins. Enshittification works, at least for a while, because it lets companies tap into 3 revenue streams: ads, subscriptions, and data sales. I mean, with YouTube, ads are their bread and butter. They plaster them everywhere, before videos, during videos, and hell, even after you close YouTube if they could. But they don't stop there. They also push premium subscriptions so you can pay to avoid the ads that they put there in the first place. Genius, right? And let's not forget data. Platforms collect everything you watch, everything you click, and how long you linger. And then they sell that information to advertisers. It's like digital alchemy, turning your bad habits into good profit. And yeah, in the short term, it works. Profits go up, shareholders are happy, and the CEO gets a fat bonus. Everybody wins, except us, of course. But the thing about enshittification is that it is a terrible long-term strategy, because eventually the people that you're squeezing decide they've had enough. Enshittification works until it doesn't. Companies chase short-term profits so aggressively that they poison their own ecosystems. Users leave, creators stop creating, and what's left is a hollow shell of what once was. But before we all pack up and move into an off-grid cabin, let's talk about what we can do to fight back against enshittification. Step 1, of course, is to vote with your attention. Look, these companies want 2 things from you: your time and your money. So if a platform starts hitting you with more ads than a late-night infomercial or Linus Tech Tips, then leave after this message from our sponsor. But I understand breakups aren't always easy, and platforms like YouTube and TikTok is where everyone goes. Although depending on when you're watching this, it might be RedNote instead of TikTok. YouTube is fighting things like ad blockers, but using them is sending a message, and bumping up the price of premium is sending more people away than who are signing up for it. If you do want to support a creator, most creators get a much larger cut from off-site platforms like Patreon, Buy Me a Coffee, Floatplane. I know that is an extra step, and no one likes extra steps, but keeping dollars flowing away from platforms that treat you badly tells them that you're not happy, and they might fix it. Or they might make it worse, but at least they get the message. Of course, I'm not saying ditch Netflix or YouTube or anything else that you love entirely and go and live in a yurt, but if Netflix decides to double down on password police, maybe give that subscription the boot for a month or 2. Okay, that was step 2 as well, I kind of rolled them together. But step 3 is to simply talk about it. A lot of enshittification thrives on us being clueless or indifferent. Share articles, videos, yes, like this one. if you like it. If not, don't worry about it. But share stuff about what's happening behind the scenes. Talk to your friends and family. Sure, you might sound like the boring tech guy or girl at the dinner table, but when Aunt Karen complains about Facebook's nonsense, gently nudge her towards a better platform, or at least a decent ad blocker anyway. And whether it's data privacy or antitrust, our governments do have the power to break up monopolies sometimes and rein these people in. It's far from perfect, but the more noise we make, the more likely they are to be forced to pay attention. Like when the EU slapped Google, Meta and Microsoft and Apple with massive fines. We need that kind of energy to keep these giants in check. It's a slow game, but it's definitely worth playing. Look, I know we may not be able to Thanos snap our fingers and banish enshittification overnight, but we can make it a lot harder for these companies to keep serving us up this garbage. Next time you're about to cave into that ridiculous subscription or microtransaction, remember that every click you make is a vote. Make it count. And speaking of ridiculous subscriptions, there's some more cool stuff coming to this channel, so you can subscribe to me for more. Okay, keep cancelling and be excellent to each other.